Good afternoon. Welcome back to the B&H event space. You are tuned in the essential photo video workflow for touring with bands, hosted by Crucial. A huge thank you to them for hosting today's event. I'd like to welcome the speaker for the next hour, Paris Visone. Paris, how's it going?
Hello, Derek. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful today. How are you doing?
Thanks. I'm great. A little chilly, but what are you gonna do?
I'd rather take the chili than the hot. We're just finally starting to hit fall weather here in New York, so I'm embracing it.
I'm in Boston over here, and you know what? It's just as awful.
You guys always get it a little bit worse than us, so I'll give you the
Yeah,
edge on that one. Well, I want to thank you for joining us. This is something, I mean, you have such a cool job. It's something that I think everybody at one point, if you are a photographer or you own a camera, at some point you've been like, I want to photograph bands or I want to photograph concerts, shows, all that stuff. So you're living it. So for the next hour or so, we're going to be living vicariously through you. I will invite everybody to get your questions in if you do have any questions at all. Paris has opted to, if you have questions during, don't wait until the end. She's more than down to answer them during. So Paris, I'll let you do your thing, and I'll see you in a bit for some Q&A.
cool. Thank you. So, hi, I'm Paris, and I am a touring music photographer, also now a live video director. So, I've kind of tried something new at almost 40 years old. Basically, I go on tour with bands and I take photos, and it is as fun as you would think. Um, Basically, just getting paid to hang out with rock stars, and yeah, my life's pretty awesome. I think, myself, my previous self, for building my career at a very young age. I started listening to music with my father when I was super young, and we always just went to shows, and it was kind of just what we did. And in high school, I started playing in a band myself, of course, because every music photographer plays some sort of instrument. I'll tell you that right now because we wish we were on stage. And then we realized that we couldn't be. So, um, yeah, I'm actually going to start by going through my day in the life, basically, of actually being on tour and the logistics of it. So, what we do is we travel in buses, mainly tour buses. And people think that maybe we have hotels. And we do on days off, but mostly we're riding the bus and we have these little things called bunks, which are kind of like coffins. And we sleep in those and we drive overnight. So, flash to a day on tour, right? We are waking up in the bus. We have slept in the bus. We go from the last place and we're waking up at a venue. So, one rule of the bus is that you can't do number two on the bus. So most people get up, go into the venue, take care of that. I'm sorry if this is gross. But that's tour life, baby. What are you gonna do? So I wake up pretty late compared to the rest of the crew. Um, this is just my preference because I love sleeping in. Um, so I wake up at around 10:30. I'm not gonna lie. And everyone else has been loading in. It's probably 7 o'clock. It takes a lot of manpower to build the stage and all that kind of stuff. So I'm up at 10:30. I stroll in and people are like, oh, she's waking up late, but I'm like, whatever, I don't care. So I go in, I find the production office. We have signs around that show us where things are with arrows. It's pretty foolproof. Um, so at the production office, I find power, which is probably the hardest part of my day is finding a desk that has a power source next to it so I can plug in all my stuff. The first thing that I do, I open my computer and I get these bad boys right here, my Crucial drive. These are X9 Pros, and these are 4 terabytes each. So shout out to Crucial. You know how it is. They're super fast. super awesome. And the first thing I do is I back up my photos from the night before. So let's put these in. And I'm going to share my screen with you. So basically, I have two drives that have the exact same stuff on them because, you have to back up. That is the most crucial part of file management, I think. So let me share my screen. Here we go. There it is. So I have my drives here. I usually name them after people. Um, this last tour, I was on tour with New Kids on the Block, and I named them Donnie and John. It's a Donathan sort of thing. If you know, you know. If not, do a little research, okay? Because New Kids on the Block is a lifestyle, and if you don't know about it, you should. So basically, I have both of these drives that are exactly the same, and I sort of do a non-conventional way of backing up. I don't do a RAID system. I like to physically see that the files are in two different places. So I have my cameras. I have two different cameras. They're C1 and C2. I know, super technical. And then once they reach 10,000, the numbering restarts. So if you try to put more into that folder, it'll try to replace it because it's the same file name. So I have more files over here with every 10,000 photos for each camera. So I like to throw them all in a big folder so I can see everything. Like that's my biggest thing. I don't like labeling them by show because it kind of shows don't really matter to me. Dates don't matter to me. It kind of all just blurs into one thing. So it's easier for me to just have all of this just sort of in one area. So this might take a second because there's probably 10,000 photos in each folder. Oh yeah, 9,700. So basically what I do is I put it on one and I do that at nighttime. I take all of my cards, dump them onto one hard drive, which is Donnie, and then I will select them all and literally drag them over to the second hard drive. And then that takes, seconds because Crucial drives so fast. But no, probably not seconds, but definitely minutes and not hours, which is something that has really made my workflow a lot easier since solid state drives came out, just because it used to take me 45 minutes just to even copy the files from the cards to the drive. And now it's more like 5 minutes. So I really can get my workflow going even faster after the show. So anyway, first thing I do, back up my files from the night before, because I'm not doing it that night. And I also have it on the card. So it's not a big deal. I have it in two places always. So once I select it from Donnie, bring it over to John, stuff's backed up, then I erase all my cards and get ready for the day. So crucial backing up because you never know. You never know. I do that with my show files, and then also I love doing the meet and greet photos. And these I do by day. And as you can see, I got a ton of meet and greet photos, 1,200 files a day. I'll back those up too. Um, so yeah, backing up, super important. First thing that I do. Oh, just to mention here, I have a show with my friend Francesca Ludicar tomorrow at the Morrison Hotel Gallery. And it's a Godsmack photo show, and it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to be there. Sully from Godsmack is going to be there as well, but it's really all about us, but he'll be there. And yeah, it'll be fun. So if you guys are in New York, definitely come stop by and hang out with us. It's going to be pretty cool. We actually had the photos printed and then sent to us on tour. We had to sign them. We went to a FedEx. It was very glamorous. And then we sent them back. So it all happened pretty quickly. And I'm excited to see them all hung up and framed and stuff. So it's going to be pretty cool. So there's that. Let's see. What do I do next? So I back up. I usually shoot video as well. So after I back up, I will edit video, which is my least favorite thing to do on tour. But you know, it's okay. It's kind of a necessary evil. A lot of photographers, tour photographers, double as videographers as well, just because, you know, budgets are budgets. And oh, you have someone doing um photo, their camera can also do video. I'm sure they can just do that real quick. So yeah, a lot of us learn how to do video on the fly and eventually get better at it. But yeah, it's a struggle at first, honestly. But now I can edit together a funny video in 30 minutes. Takes me no time at all. So practice is key. Oh, we have a question here. What size crucial drives do you use? I use 4 terabytes because that is the largest that they make, and I have a lot of files. So I usually go through probably 8 terabytes per tour, depending on how long the tour is. But the last New Kids tour was just um 2.5, I think maybe 3 months. It's all a blur.
Paris, I
And
wanted
I
to.
went through.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, I jumped in on
Oh,
you. I told you I was going to do it. It's me,
I love it.
voice from
Keep it
above.
going.
No, while you're on this topic, kind of if you could just mix it in with this topic, are you a clear out your memory cards person, or is it stays on the memory card kind of like an extra sort of redundancy while you're on tour?
So, yeah, if I have 4 memory cards, 2 for each camera, and that's it. So I will dump my photos that night. Next morning, I back it up and then I delete the card. Because if I have a bunch of cards with a bunch of stuff on it and it's not organized, I will drive myself. Oh, did I delete that or did I back it up? Or so I always have this
Exactly.
very regimented sort of thing where it's like on one drive, on another one, delete it off the card, and then we're set. And then you know what? If everything fails, those photos didn't mean to exist. Just whatever. But no, I haven't had that happen. Um, but yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I go through about 8 terabytes and then I back up those 8 terabytes. So I'm rolling with about 16 terabytes per tour, and that should last me. I haven't had it go over that. But you know, it's a lot of photos per day, and as much as the cameras are getting better and the files are getting bigger and the hard drives need to get bigger, and it's just I remember the first time I got my first terabyte, I was like so psyched. I was like, guys, I bought a terabyte, and me and my friends are like, what? And now like it's insane how small these drives are and how fast they are. But you know, it's you got to keep up with it because the cameras are getting, it's just a never ending sort of thing. But yeah, I use about 8 terabytes per tour backed up. So 16. So I have 4 crucial drives. And yeah, please keep the questions coming, you know?
I'm gonna throw another one at you with that same
Okay.
kind of. 'Cause it's not like you're just out taking pictures in a park. It's kinda these pictures are kind of important, and you can't just be like, "Hey, guys, could we get together next weekend? Because I kind of
Right.
screwed these up or lost them or something." So is there like, at what point do you get comfortable? Because people like me would never be comfortable. I'd be stressed the hell out every time I go to do this.
Mhm.
Is there like a ritual? Is it like, okay, this drive goes here and then this one goes over here? I know people that like split them up and they have like these rituals for like just in case. Is there anything that you
So
follow like that?
it's just no, and the thing is, I probably should separate them because I have my backups in the same bag. So if my bag is stolen, like whatever, I'm screwed. But I do label them, and I'll show you. This is John. So I just labeled, that's it. Um, that's all I do. I actually bought a bunch of leather stuff because I don't know, I like crafts, and I made a little case to put them all in so they're all nice and folded and in a little pouch. Um, but yeah, if I lose my bag, I'm totally screwed.
I
But
mean,
what are you
I
gonna do? It's just life. It's just life. We
that's
can
it. No
only
risk,
do
no
so
reward.
much. Yeah. But the thing, obviously, the photos are important, right? But there's also a million shows, right? So I could, if potentially I lost a shot where I'm like, oh my God, that shot was so awesome. And I could get it the next night. Like, will it be exactly the same? No, but I have a ton of do-overs. And that's kind of the great thing about being on tour is that no one knows when you mess up, you know? Only you.
Mm. Is there like do you have like a shot list that you need? And is it kind of like, okay, I knocked out my shot list. Now I'm just going to kind of do this? Or do you have an idea at this point of like, okay, these shots are good to get here. These shots are good to get here.
Yeah, so there's always like these grand moments throughout the show, where it's like, oh, of course, it's everyone's going to jump at this time. Like, we got to get that. Other times, like as you go through the tour, it's like, all right, I got that a million times. I got it from this angle, this angle, this angle. And about halfway through the tour, my goal is to just get something different. So I'm using, more telephoto lenses, just going for details and interactions between, different band members and just trying to get something that not everyone would get, So I I start off getting everything that's like, oh, we need this. And also I'm also there to promote the tour. You have to remember that. Like I'm not just there for myself having a good time. Like I'm there to show how big the tour is, how many people are there, like how much fun everyone's having. So the production to sell tickets. So at that point I'm trying to get the biggest coolest stuff, and then I sort of relax a little bit more as it goes on and I can get just cool stuff that I would enjoy, you know so yeah, it's definitely it changes throughout. Like I'll watch the show and be like, gotta get that, and I do have a list, and then once that list is knocked off, like all bets are off. Now I'm like getting artsy and stuff.
Yeah, you got to try to create like a different. I mean, there's a ton of people out there shooting concerts. I'm guessing you have to make your mark. You have to kind of go for your own different spin on things.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And I think that's just a natural thing.
Mhm.
I follow like a ton of photographers on Instagram and Facebook and everything. And I'm constantly just looking at photographs and like, oh, what's this person doing? What's this person doing? And I've been doing this for since 2010, so a pretty long time. And it's just every tour is different, every band is different, and it's sort of it's it's great, but it's also does get super repetitive. So you have to sort of look within yourself and your creativity within yourself to find something new and get new inspiration. But it's fun. It's still super fun. That's the thing.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
but
I
yeah.
see where the questions are going crazy. See, it didn't take long for
Oh
people
yeah.
to start throwing
How
them in.
large are your cards? Oh, so my cards are 128. I don't like to go any bigger than that because I'm never going to shoot more than that during the show. And then I'm never going to put more than that on one card because it feels like you're putting all of your eggs into one basket. You know what I mean? So I don't, for some, is there any technical thing behind it? No, it's just me not wanting to put too much in one place. So yeah, I just have 128 cards and I just have four of them, two for each camera, keep it nice and clean. And yeah, sometimes the only time I'll actually replace it is if like the plastic is messed up and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, I get rid of it right away if there's, because in and out of car cameras every day. I'm doing meet and greets. I'm transferring in and out all the time. So if it looks just a little bit worn, I'll throw it away and get a new card. Um,
I've
two
had a
questions.
yeah. Look at that. You're handling the
Okay.
Q&A better
Oh,
than I am.
I'm
Go
reading
for
this
it.
here. Yeah.
Now go
Do
for
you
it.
shoot as independent? Or are you with a particular news service? Oh, okay. So I am just freelance. So basically, I work for the artist directly most of the time. I've never really shot for a news outlet or done anything like that on tour. Um, I'm just me, and I network, and you speak to bands, you meet people, you meet managers, you sort of network in that way. And I started off shooting my ex-boyfriend's band in high school, you know what I mean? And I was it was punk, and it was in a van, and it smelled, and it was feet, and it was pretty nasty. But like once you get like the tour bug, you kind of just want to keep going. And then how do I market myself? Always marketing myself. It's just everything. It's just posting on social media. It is talking to people. It is making connections. And I hate to like generalize it like that, but that is literally how it happens. Like I have gotten jobs from people that I've met 10 years ago that like we never like talked about working together, but then all of a sudden like things line up, but everything stacks and everything makes a difference. So a conversation you had at a restaurant 4 months ago could turn into something 8 years from now. So I know it's kind of not like the overnight sort of glory story, but that's just how it is. I think that if you really put effort in and show people that you love what you do and you're good at what you do, and you show your value and that you can give them value, then they'll they'll notice that and they'll want to have you around. And also just your personality. It has a lot to do with it. Um if you have to remember that you're living with these people, so you are eating with them, you are hanging out with them. If you're weird and you're going to be awkward, and it's you have to vibe with these people because you're also photographing them at what could be their best and what can be their worst, and they have to trust you. So it's a lot, honestly. It's almost like if you were at work, but then think about, oh, now you are going home and then your coworkers are going home with you. It's kind of a lot. So um and yeah,
So
but
this is
it's
this is
also
more this is more involved than like I mean, because a lot of people it's like they reach out to a venue or they reach out to like a tour's management and it's kind of just like, okay, I shoot a show, but I'm not shooting for the band. I'm not traveling with them. So this is almost like an added level of you're not just a photographer that's going to pop up and take pictures and send them through to whoever. It's really a lot more about the rapport and developing a relationship with them, right?
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Especially because there's the live photos and that's what mostly everyone sees, but for me, the behind the scenes stuff is like my favorite. I'm, through and through a documentary photographer. So all of the behind the scenes, like the real raw stuff, that's what I live for. You know what I mean? Like I love shooting shows. Like obviously the energy of the crowd and all of this, everyone having a great time. Like I love that, and I love the fans. It's like you can't there's nothing else in the world that really feels like the energy of a live show. But also just having this like tour family is something like that not a lot of people can experience. Like the only thing I could relate it to is that being at work and then also like, oh, okay, where do you want to go for dinner? Let's sleep right next to each other. And I'm talking about right next to each other, like we are stacked up, like we have a sleepover every night, you know? So yeah, it's super invasive, but it's actually awesome because we do get all of our meals just totally there for you. Like, oh, you're hungry? There's food everywhere. So that's another thing. But
Figured I'd join
yeah,
you. I'm like, I feel weird. I'm like off camera, just
no, I
throwing out
love it. Get over
questions
here.
from the
Don't,
hallway. It's
don't
like
be
the
silly.
virtual dark room.
Yeah.
It saw a couple questions come in on actual like day of workflow. How do you send the images through? Do you have a certain amount?
Oh
Is
yeah,
there
that's good.
like a list? Like, do you have to have like, hey, so we need X amount for social media, or we need a 9:16 video cut together by the morning for social media? How does that all work? And who is there like usually one person that you're dealing with, like a liaison from the band, whether it's like a tour manager or whatever that you're dealing with for all this stuff?
So yeah, we I have that conversation like before the tour starts. So like we're planning things and it also coincides with like, oh, is there an album release? Are we pushing this? Like what are we doing? Right? So there's all that kind of stuff. Is it photo? Is it video? Most of the tours are just baseline. I'm always giving photos every night. So there's always that. And then there's usually like video stuff like sprinkled in, like, oh, we need this, we need a liner for this, we need to do that. But for the photos, I'll take like it depends on how crazy I feel. I try to limit myself to like 1,000 photos each camera like per night because I have two cameras. So I'm shooting a 15 to 35 and then I have a 24 to 240, which is amazing Canon lenses. And so I'm having two cameras. I try to get 2,000 photos. I try to get less than that, but sometimes I just get too excited and I overshoot, but whatever. It takes longer after, but who cares? I'm still having a good time. So, um I go through my photos and I can show you what I do. It's kind of a little bit non-conventional, but let me share my screen and I'll show you
Yeah, definitely. I'm
this
like, wait, limit yourself to 1,000. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of photos.
2000. Well, I'm
Yeah,
not
1,000 per.
limiting,
Yeah,
but
that's right too.
it's just yeah, I know. But think about that. I'm doing 60 shows in a tour. Like that's
That's
ridiculous.
wild.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Here we go. So yeah, so I'll go here. So this is sort of my workflow after the show. So I'll have all of these, right? And I will it's it's weird, but I'm telling you it works. I will go through in in the Finder window and I look at the thumbnails and I just hold shift and pray that I don't unclick something and I go, "Oh, this looks good. All right. Yeah. Okay, this one kind of looks good." And this is what I'll do. Like I will scroll 2,000 images per night, just picking from thumbnails in the Finder. And for this is to make it faster because if not, I would be here for years. So I'll do that. And then I'll have like, probably like 200 photos selected from each camera, maybe 150. And then all I do is I just drag those. Oh, and then you got to watch out because you could click somewhere else by accident and then lose all of your
I gotta ask how many
progress.
times because I thought I was the only person, and I'm like, this is the worst process ever, and I'm sure that I'm the only one that
You
does
do it
things
too?
this way. Yeah, I do it too, and it takes me usually about 6 or 7 times because sometimes, like you said, like my finger will
You
slip
click
off the
somewhere.
key, or I'll click
Yeah.
off the screen,
No,
and
so
then
I
or
have it.
yep,
I
I'll
got it. This
forget.
is
I'll click in
what I
another
do.
app, and all right. So does it take you multiple
No,
times, or are
I
you pretty
I
locked
don't
in?
let anyone if I do mess up, I get really mad. But I don't let anyone talk to me and I'm like, don't come near me. I'm holding down shift. It's like a whole thing. So like I'll select a bunch of them, right? And then the best trick that I thought of You just you command copy them, and then they're
Ah,
saved. Like
that's
if I have
smart.
like, you know what I mean? If I'm like getting up there, I'll copy them, and then if I mess something up, I'll just paste it on my desktop, and then I like in a folder on my desktop. So those are all, and then I'll just open all of those.
All right, that's the smarter
But
approach.
yeah, so I mean I copy that stuff and then I bring it down to Photoshop and I open them all in Camera Raw. So I'll do that real quick. And it's just
So no Lightroom.
I don't use Lightroom. I don't love
I
it. I
love
like Camera
I
Raw.
love this. We're like kindred spirits. I use
Really?
Finder. I use Finder and Camera Raw, and everyone's like,
That's what
dude,
I
what?
do. But I'm telling you, that's the best thing because
Easy.
now I can do all this stuff.
Well, and I'm
Oh, this
guessing you
looks like
don't you don't batch edit. Like you're treating everything kind of as like
no. I
one-offs,
go
right?
so yeah, 100%. So I'll go through and then this is what I'll do. I'll make a JPEG, right? And I have like
Change your
a select
location and you have a select
yeah,
folder
I
and
go
then
here.
everything goes in. Okay.
I'll go into the things, right? And then I just have one folder with everything that I liked, right? So, and I'll save that. And then if I don't like it, I just skip it and I don't save a JPEG. You know what I mean? And
Are
then I
are
do
you
done. So I
saving
still
is there anything like proof like are you all right, say you have 1,000 images, or let's go with your 2,000, right? 1,000 per camera, you have
Mhm.
2,000 images. Say you pull 250 images. Is there
Yep.
ever do they ever request like, "Hey, can we see all the proofs for whatever reason?"
No, no,
Okay. So
definitely
they
not.
so they
They don't
rely
want
on
to see
you
that.
and okay.
Yeah. So if they need something specific, they'll ask me. You know what I mean? Oh, do you
Mhm,
have this? And then that's my worst nightmare because then I have to go through. But you know what? If I didn't save it as a JPEG, like this is my selects folder, right? If it's
mhm.
not in here, it's not good enough anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm
Okay.
never really looking
You're not
through all my
forcing
raw
anything.
files.
Okay.
And then also if they want, I'll be like, okay, I'll just get it tonight. You know, like I
Okay.
don't
And
know if I have that. I'll just get it tonight.
do they
But these,
usually
but
communicate that in advance? Like, hey, we need something for a flyer. It's going to be like this. There's going to be a text
mhm.
overlay. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes there's a lot of like requests for vertical, which is difficult when you're photographing five guys on a horizontal stage. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to like make sure everyone's squished together or, you know,
Yeah, them phones are ruining
I
everything.
rarely shoot vertically just in general, you know. So it's whatever. But
Mhm.
so I have all these. I even go through a secondary like thing. So I'll do all my edits. I'll make a JPEG of what I think it is, right? What I like. And then I will open these and I'll open them all in Photoshop again to do a secondary correction. So and I just do like curves and stuff. So I'll say I like this, and then I even have some actions over here where I'm usually in button mode here. And then I just have a curves that's like kind of like my normal curves thing. I lighten the midtones, give a little bit more blacks, and that's sort of it. Now, if I want to do another, like say I'm like, oh, I need the crowd a little bit more, I'll sort of make like a adjustment layer and I'll just do this like pretty quickly and get like a sort of, okay, that's good. And then I have this merge save button that literally just saves over the one that I just did. And the corrections are in there. So I have all these JPEGs that I've corrected once in Camera Raw and then I've recorrected as JPEGs. And those are what I send out. So it's two sort of run throughs of correcting, but out of um out of 2000 photos, I'll probably send with new kids, it ends up being more because there's five of them, and I like to do of individuals of each guy and then also group shots and sometimes, sometimes it's like, oh, someone's birthday and like, Joe will be like, oh, do you have a picture of me and Donnie? You know what I mean? So I have to get like different combos of each
Mhm.
guy as well, like with different people. And so there's a lot to shoot. So with Godsmack, like I tour with Godsmack. I've been touring with Godsmack for like 13 years. So um with them, it's sort of like I'll have like maybe 60 photos delivered like per night. But with New Kids, it gets to like 100 just because of all the different there's all different costume changes and all the different guys and all the things. So um yeah, there's a lot more variety. So I shoot more with that as well. But yeah, it's usually 60 to 100 photos delivered, corrected, bada boom, all done. And it usually takes me like an hour and a half with, the the finder, the camera raw to Photoshop whole thing. So
That's
yeah,
not bad for that
I
many
I
images.
it's not. It's like it used to take me a lot longer. It used to take me a lot longer to transfer stuff, so I would just be waiting around too. But I usually finish depending on the crew and how fast the crew is. I'm done just about the same time as the crew has taken down the entire concert set. So I don't know. I don't know what's more impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How has it been with this shift and everything? Like, I mean, coming from being a still photographer, we're all kind of feeling the pinch right now where everything's mixed media. Everything you have to still photographers, it's either get with the video or get left behind, and the job's going to go to somebody who does
Mhm.
both. Or, you have to
Yeah.
now it's not just doing video. Now it's like even like I'm still getting my feet wet with video, and now it's like, well, now I have to learn how to put together a reel or like a TikTok kind of thing. And it's like you not only have to
Yeah.
learn a whole new format, but then it's like a subgenre of a format that makes it even more difficult. Is that something, has that been a challenge for you?
It's great because we have on there's people who run social media. You know what I mean? So before, it's almost like you had to come up with the ideas and you also had to know what was trending. Like you have to be it's like so many jobs in one person. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've gotten good at editing. I'm not good at graphic design and making things cool. I'm not. It's just audio. I can wrap my head around. Like I know that things need to go and how things need to flow and balance each other out. But and then there's AI, which is just blowing my mind and making things a lot easier but more difficult at the same time. So it's kind of insane. But I have been turning my photos into videos with AI and it's crazy. It's so
That's kind
weird,
of cool.
but I kind of like it.
How does this all work? I mean, working with bands, there's always like that added like legal responsibility, and it's like you're not really, it's not just like a person who's just going out and taking photos for themselves and they're taking pictures of flowers and they don't need to worry about anything like that. Does it get kind of murky with, especially with like the AI stuff? Is there stuff where it's like, their legal reps come in, it's like, all right, well, this is kind of, can't use this? Or do you have a lot of restrictions in general?
No, the most restrictions I have are like don't show my double chin. That's like
Easy
legally,
one.
like I haven't really dealt with anything crazy like that, honestly, because a lot of this stuff is just going on social media. It's so disposable. Like
Okay.
it's like up and then down and then we're good. But if if there is something like, more like we're creating content and stuff for like the walls and stuff and all that needs to get cleared. Um, but that's the manager's job, you know what I mean? But they got
That's
people for that.
awesome. You
Business
just get to do your
management.
thing, and it's already,
Yeah.
they've kind of already paved the way for you.
Yeah. It's like you figure that out. That's your thing. And I'll take the picture, you know. But I
It's
mean,
so much easier.
that's because, I'm working with bands that are at that level that have management, that have lawyers, and you know what I mean? But when I started out, it's like you're with these smaller bands and yeah, you kind of just do what you can and then if you get in trouble, you just delete it. you know?
It's like you get a cease and desist, or
Yeah.
somebody
You're like, all
sends an
right, never mind.
email.
You got me. It's gone. It's
Yeah,
gone.
it's gone. Deleted this moment. Do it right
Yeah.
now.
It's like it's cool. Yeah.
I
Um,
love that. How do you like, how do you decide? Is it one of the things where like do you have certain bands in mind that you're like, hey, huge fan of this band, I want to shoot for them? Or do you kind of take what you can get? Is it would you how much do you say no? Are you turning about if someone you're really just not feeling someone's music and you're like, I don't think I could really do my best stuff? Or are you just like, no, I'm gonna force myself. I'm gonna do my best stuff. I'm not really into their stuff or their style, but how does that work?
I mean, money talks, so I'll do whatever they pay me to, you know what I mean? Uh, but I do enjoy more, bands more than others. And then there's also like if you hear something enough, you kind of get into it. You know what I mean? It's weird. Um, but no, I don't think that there's anything I would say no to. It's just I prefer like I really like doing the pop stuff. Like I was always into like rock and like metal growing up. Like and I've worked with some of my favorite bands that I've had in high school, but doing New Kids and Big Time Rush is kind of like super fun for me because everyone is not that Godsmack fans are angry, but it's more of a like, you know, rough crowd. And then everyone at a New Kid show is just super psyched to see someone with their shirt off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a much different vibe. I can imagine that.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd say no. If you got money, I'm there. Uh,
Interesting.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I mean, that's what you do. This is your job. It's
But
cool.
it's still fun. That's the thing. Even
Yeah,
if like I
exactly.
don't love country music, and honestly, like having one person with a guitar, and that's kind of the only one that matters, and not having a full band of people, and like that would I think be more difficult to get something new every night and to sort of keep your creative juices flowing. So
Does
wouldn't
that
be my
push you
first choice, but I
more?
would still
Would that be more like a challenge where you're like, you know what, this is gonna be more of a challenge. It's not something I'm into. It's something that's way far away from what I'd listen to. Or is that do you find yourself challenged more? Or is it more like, okay, I'm just gonna go through the not go through the motions because
not
artists
it's
were
not even a
passionate, but
challenge. Yeah, it's not even a challenge. It's just kind of more boring. I'd hate to say it, but it's just like, oh,
it's
okay,
real.
I'll get you just got to get through the motions and you do the best you can with what you have. Like that's the thing. You can only shoot what's there.
Mhm.
So, I mean, no matter how many filters or bokehs you put on, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's still just one person staying there with you gotta hope the lighting is doing something cool.
Totally. We had a
But
question
that's
coming from
that's where
yeah,
where
go ahead.
video comes in. You can make it more interesting. You know what I mean? With movement and stuff like that. That's why it's yeah,
It adds a
you're gonna
different
lean on
dynamic.
other stuff. Hmm.
Yeah. We had a question come in. I'm kind of interested about this too, because I don't even, it's like, I'm afraid to post people I know without asking them because it's like, you always get that message like, I hate this. I look horrible here. Can you please take it down? What's
Oh
the
yeah,
rule
okay.
about posting on socials?
So yeah, this is different with every band. Some bands do not care at all. Like New Kids, I've never had them say, "Oh, I don't look good in that photo." But I also pass it off to someone else to pick the photos. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
I'm also not putting photos where they look bad, where at least I think they look bad. But I've definitely I I don't post photos myself without depending on the artist without approval. You know what I mean? Where it's or even if I'm like if it's iffy, I'm like, oh, I don't know if this person would like this. I always ask like if it's a clearly like I wouldn't know, I ask.
Hmm.
If not, if it's like a faraway shot or whatever, like I usually don't. But yeah, I've had some times where we're like, oh, take that down, I don't look good. And it's been a while, but it's also sort of the mentality where I see a lot of younger photographers post some stuff where the lighting looks amazing, you know what I mean? And it's great, the energy's great, but then the person just looks awful. And it's like, I get that this is technically a good photo, but you have to remember that you are trying to promote these people and it's not just about you and your photography skills. It's about the person in the photo and if they like it. You know what I mean? I don't want to post a photo, even if I think it's the best photo ever, if the person doesn't like it, because what's the point? It's kind of
Yeah.
weird. Like I don't. And that's the other thing about just being trusted by the people that you work for. It's like if you're constantly giving them photos where they don't like themselves in it, like they're going to be like, "Oh, this person's around taking my photo and it I look bad all the time." You know what I mean? They're not going to trust you, and then it's going to just eventually go down. But yeah, I always it's it just depends on the person, but
Mhm.
I can usually tell if someone looks hot or not. So,
You have a
you
discerning
know.
eye. I mean, that's why you're in that position, and it kinda
Yeah,
goes
I
back to
think
what
so.
yeah, like, if you need to build a relationship, you have to kind of, being around these people, you're gonna know who's self-conscious about what, who likes certain kinds of
Exactly.
thing. You're seeing what they post on social media, which is always a good kind of, navigator right there. It's like, "Okay, this person always posts pictures like this. I'm not gonna post a picture all up in their face." And I think the one thing
Right.
that the regular anyone who doesn't shoot either celebrities or photos or bands or anything like that, um, there's like this line where there's a very, very, very humble ego to photographers who work with anybody on the celebrity spectrum because you understand that you can't be a fanboy or a fangirl. You have to do a job. You have to
Hmm.
be professional. You have to always it's always their needs and their desires over yours. And I think like you talked about, it's like there's a lot of people that look at this stuff and it's like, wow, that's so cool. And then they get the opportunity to do something and it's more like posting for clout or posting for themselves. And it's like, no, that's how you
Hmm.
run yourself right out of the industry before you even get into it.
Yep. 100%.
How
Exactly.
how much do you see? I mean, I feel like now there was a period on Instagram where it was like everybody who got tickets to Rolling Loud is now a concert photographer. Do you, the people who have been in the industry predating the last couple years where everything just became like, okay, I got in the pit for 2 songs and now I'm this. Is there a lot of that? Do you guys, is there like a competitive nature to like, or is there ways that that has made things more difficult or easier in a way?
Um, it's weird. The concert photographer community is kind of it is competitive, but I hate it. I hate that about it because like there's no reason to be that way. You know what I mean? And then there's different types. Like obviously you have your news outlets and then you have your tour photographers, and I feel like they're very like it's a very different thing. Like as a media outlet photographer, you're grinding, you know what I mean? And then when you're on tour, you're grinding in a completely different way. So I always hated the whole competitive nature of it. Even just being in the pit with everyone else, and a lot of photographers, they'll complain because they'll be like, "Oh, these people are holding their camera above their heads and they're getting my shot and all this stuff." And it's like this whole thing of just like my shot's more important than yours, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like I think there's a sort of etiquette that if you're in the pit with people and you're in front and center and you've gotten a few shots, like move out of the way. You know what I mean? Also, if someone else is holding their camera up, that's the show. Like that's what this whole thing is. It's all part of the concert. You know what I mean? So let it happen. If that camera's in your shot, that camera was meant to be in your shot. Like that wasn't your shot to get, you know? And it's one thing if someone's standing there the entire time, but normally people are pretty good with like moving around because they don't want the same shot over and over again. But I just hate that mentality of like, my shot's more important than yours, get out of my way. I think that's just so lame. Even as a tour photographer, like some people like have this like, oh, this is my band, you know what I mean, like get out of my way. And it's I think it's lame because you have the whole show. Like these people have 3 songs. It's like there really is room for everyone, I think. And then it's funny because two people standing right next to each other, the difference between their shots is crazy. You think it would be the same, but
Mhm.
it's not. And because everyone has their own creativity. So yeah, I concert photographers are could sometimes be super lame, but I've found that the more friends you make, oh, I can't shoot the show. Who am I gonna call to fill in for me? Like that is where stuff that's where relationships are born and stuff happens, and that's where you get more gigs, is being friends with the people that are your competition, but they're not really your competition. There's plenty of bands to shoot. There's plenty of events going on. Like I just don't see it like that. You know what I mean? And I wish a lot of other people would just chill out a little bit.
I love your vibe is so chill and like it is. It's like a no ego. Like we're all just out here doing the same thing, trying to enjoy it. Let's just not
Yeah,
don't be a
like we're
jerk.
creating. We're creating art with artists. Like why does that have to be uptight and weird? It doesn't. Yeah, we're making money, we're selling something, we're doing this, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's still creating art. So I just feel like, what's the point of art if it's not going to make you feel good, you know?
Totally. Now, you mentioned something in that last answer that parallels a question that we just had come in. Everybody are a lot of people that know about concert photography. It's like most photographers are limited to 2 songs, 3 songs, and then you're out of the pit.
Mm.
Obviously, working for the bands, I'm guessing you're not bound by the same restrictions as normal concert photographers or pit
Yeah, so
photographers.
yeah, I mean, I can go anywhere at any time. And it depends on the band whether they want you on stage or not, but I've had bands like want me on the stage and be like, get this shot, and like it's almost like I'm part of the show, which is like I like, in a it there needs to be a balance of it. I don't want to be part of the show, but I am kind of part of the show, but I don't want to be fully part of the show. And then I've also had bands that are like, "Oh no, we don't want to see you at all." And that's fine, because I totally understand that. I do think it's a little distracting, but sometimes the shot is more important than, not being on the stage for, 10 seconds. Who cares? It's not that big of a deal. Um, and then I've also had, like, one time Tim Armstrong from Rancid told me to stand in front of him on the stage. And that was like, he's like, no one's ever gotten the shot before in my whole career. And I was like, okay. So I
That's awesome.
literally stood in front of him, blocking him from the entire crowd, and took some shots like there. And it was like 5 seconds long, but it was still pretty cool, that he wanted that. And it's
What are
just
the
cool. I just,
nerves like? Like, are you worried?
I
I'd
don't
be
want to
like,
trip,
you didn't want to.
because that would be awful. I don't want to fall. But I'm not actually like nervous that people are seeing me or anything. I'm just nervous, like, if I, yeah, if I, that, I mean, but that's the thing. Say I fall, it goes viral, marketing, you know?
Spin it. See, I'd be worried like that would
Yeah.
be the one time that like my autofocus would crap out or like something would go wrong and he'd see me backstage and be like, I can't wait to see that image. And I'm like, ooh, it's out of focus or there
I
I
would
got
just go,
something.
if there was a problem, I would just go back and do it again. Because he already gave the
Okay.
permission. You know what I mean? If there was like something where I didn't get it, I just try to go do it again and leave. And
Do
then
you ever
hopefully I
feel
got
that
it that.
pressure? Like, because you're the person, like you're up there and it's like you have all the access. You're like, is
Yeah.
it ever where you're like, I have no reason not to totally kill these shots? Is there ever a time where you're like, where your nerves, even after all these years, do you ever get nerves?
Not really, just because I could get it the next night probably. But I
Okay.
do, if I see something like happening that doesn't happen all the time, I'll like run to it. Like oh my God, once on this last tour, I knocked out this girl. Like there was, what was it? Oh, Jenny McCarthy was on the stage with New Kids, and they were doing like this whole like dancing thing. And I was like, oh God, I gotta get closer for this. And I was running down the stairs, and this girl just happened to just walk right out of her seat right as I, dude, I destroyed her. But I was like, and then I couldn't, I'm like, sorry, and I just keep running, because what are you gonna do? But yeah, I knocked her. I didn't knock her out. I knocked her pretty good. But yeah, it's more things like that where I'm just like, I see something happening and I gotta get there real quick. But it's still fun. And then it actually ends up being longer than you thought it would. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I think this is gonna end like right away. And no, they're standing there and it was the whole song. You know what I mean? I thought it
Mhm.
was gonna end quicker. That's why I had to go real quick. But sorry if you where
She's out
was it?
there.
She's if she's out there, I
She's out there listening
apologize.
right
And
now.
I will send you a print. Get a hold of me in my DMs.
I feel like with
I know
artists,
it.
they know they're entertainers. Like there's got to be like some kind of they know like they know what they're doing. They're entertaining, they're putting on a show. Especially nowadays, it's like musicians, you know that it's like I feel like we have way more entertainers than just your traditional old like like a Maynard James Keenan who's just like I will literally hide behind the monitor the entire show. I don't care
Right.
about any of the show. I'm just going to sit back here and do my thing. I don't care if you paid for these
I
tickets.
know.
But I feel like a lot of artists now, it's like there is more of like this flair, this panache. Like they know when they're putting on, they know when there's a photo op. It's got to be easy in that regard,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Oh, especially with new kids, like they'll pose, and sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, like where's Paris?" They'll like look for me. You know what I mean? And like if there's like something going on stage and stuff, so that's cool because yeah, they're thinking about promoting their stuff as well. Like they think about social media and they see me there, and they'll pose for a shirt or two, which is always awesome. That's like the coveted like eye contact. Like I feel like that's what a lot of concert photographers like. That's what they're going for.
Is that the thing?
Best case scenario, they look at my camera, you know what I mean? Which
Wh-
is always fun.
Is there any other like gotta have it shots, or is there like the holy grail? What's the holy grail of concert photography?
I honestly I love like jump shots. Like if you get it right at the like I feel like that does take a little bit of skill, you know what I mean? Or like confetti where it just fits perfectly in the frame and there's just like you could see their face, but there's confetti everywhere. It's all sort of like it's skill, but also like happenstance of like, is this, you know? And I also don't like burst shoot. I feel like that's cheating.
Interesting.
So
See,
yeah,
I
I
would have
like
thought I would
to
have thought you would have ripped off like kind of just like okay, I'm just gonna rip off a bunch of shots.
old school like that. Like I started
Interesting.
taking pictures when we had to go like this and then roll the film and then go like that. I sort of that is one thing that I like to keep true to like if this was film, would I still get it? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But then I'm also I go both ways. I'll use my camera. I use the back viewfinder more often than I put it up to my face. And that's sort of like a weird thing that I've adapted over being digital and having because I'm not super tall and sometimes the stage is tall. So
Mhm.
if I need to get the shot, I can't be down here looking up. It's double chin city. So I am holding camera above my head. So
Nah,
there's a few
yeah, go
things
ahead.
that digital. So,
I gotta ask about inspiration. For me, it's like one image that always stands out. It's like, we talk about like jump shots and stuff like that. And it's like Eddie Van Halen jumping
mhm.
off and it's like up in the air, legs open, and shots like that. Is there any
Yeah.
photographers that you since day one or that before you got into the concert photography, was there anybody on your radar like you really looked up to?
No, I don't. It's not because it's just I never really like considered concert photography as like a profession. My whole thing was that I wanted to hang out with Hanson band, so I would like a photo shoot with them. Like that was it. Like that was my goal. I wanted to be friends with them. So I was like, we need to do a photo shoot. I didn't even think about the live show at all. I was just like, I want to be friends with Hanson. How can I get there? Doing photo shoots with them makes sense. So that was it. And then I would honestly, my inspiration was like teeny bopper magazines, like those kind of photo shoots, because I
Interesting.
was always like, they were always like having a good time. Like, and I was just like, oh, I can be a photographer and have a good time with these dudes, you know?
Mhm. What do you prefer? Like, do you have a desire to do more of that stuff of like the promo images or album covers, stuff like that, or do you really enjoy the live music scene?
I I mean, I like it all, honestly. I've done a few album covers, like just like even t-shirt kind of stuff, and
Hmm.
I really just enjoy behind the scenes documentary stuff more than anything, honestly. Just like straight up documentary style photos and stuff that you wouldn't even if it was, a normal day. Like days off are more interesting to me than the shows for shooting, I think. But
That makes sense. It's like a more intimate look into their lives. I think that's one of the things that social media has been good for is you get a different look. You're not just
mhm,
seeing, it's not like a canned, hey, here they are on stage. Here's where everything looks like such a staged media op. It's more of like a, hey, here's the
right.
person behind all the glitz and
Yeah.
glam and all that.
Yeah, I think that's what life is about, like those in between moments, you know what I mean? Like the concerts get us there, but then like what are we doing before, the day after? It's just real life sort of things, and I like that.
Totally. I got to throw you one last question, Paris. This is an easy one, a softball to end it on. Who is on your list of someone you haven't shot yet? If you had to pick someone, we'll go dead or alive. If there anyone all time,
Oh, dead or
music act,
alive?
dead or alive.
Music act, dead or alive. I'm gonna say not music act. I wanted Philip Seymour Hoffman big time. That
Ooh,
was He's so good. He was so good.
totally.
That was
Would you
my
have had like, is
number
there a
one.
certain style like do you see the image in your head that you would want to
I
take?
just wanted to take his portrait, Like I wanted to just have his I just wanted him sitting like on a couch, like nothing crazy. I just wanted to take a portrait. And didn't happen. But Hanson was my thing for the longest time, and then I did that. So we're good. We're good to go on that. They're
It's funny.
awesome.
It's funny when you said that. It made me think growing up that, I can see the album covers. It had like that yellowish, orangish, and it was
Oh my
the
gosh.
three
I wanted to take
brothers.
that picture
And
so bad. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I was 11 wanting to photograph Hanson. Like it's weird.
so
But
wait,
now,
what year was it that you finally got to?
um it was a few years ago. My friend Zach Myers, he plays guitar in the band Shinedown. He loved Hanson growing up as well, and then he started talking to Isaac on Twitter or something weird, and then became friends with him. And I was just like, we were on tour together, and we were in New York, and then we had a day off the next day, and Hanson was playing in New York. So we actually drove to our day off and then rented a car and drove back to New York to like go see Hanson at this fair that was like down the street from where we played the night before. And we were just hanging out with Hanson. I was like, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. So
That's
Zach
awesome.
Myers made my dreams come true. And then we eventually, his other band opened for Hanson on a tour, and I was like, I'm coming. So I just got in their van with them, and did that a few years ago, and that was
That's
awesome. So
that's
yeah, I
so cool.
technically toured with Hanson, and I did shoot for them while I was there. So dreams come true. Whatever, it's done. I can die. It's cool.
That's awesome. You checked off the ultimate bucket
Yeah,
list item.
that was it.
Awesome.
Well, in Philip's Hoffman, which won't happen, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there
it.
that one. Yeah, you know, I was just watching a movie with him in it the other day, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, because he gives like that
Nice.
old school, like the person who like studied theater and is like really has control of their emotions and their expressions, and he's super
Yeah,
emotive. So good
yeah,
choice. Good choice. Well,
yeah.
Paris, this was great. I want to thank you for hanging around a little extra. We
Oh
did
yeah.
get
Oh
to.
wow. Actually, look at
I
that.
it went so fast. I'm
I
sitting
know.
here and I'm like,
It did. I feel
yeah,
like I didn't even say everything I needed to say. We'll do another one.
I know we got it. We'll have
Yeah.
to have you back, and we'll just continue the conversation. I feel like we could just sit here and talk for hours. It's such a cool job, and your vibe is so cool that it makes it even better to talk about a cool job. There's nothing worse than somebody has a cool job, but they're just not. They're just like, yeah, yeah. So,
They're not cool. No.
nah,
So I'm cool. Thank
you're
you.
a cool
Thanks.
person
Thanks.
with a cool job, so it makes it even better. So to all those people
Awesome.
out there who were listening, we didn't get to your questions. I do apologize. We hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Nonetheless, I want to give a huge shout out to Paris and the Crucial team. We didn't make a single crucial dad joke or bad crucial pun during the entire
I
program. So
know we did. Hold on. Let me
I'm
just
sure
hold
they
this up a little
appreciate.
bit more.
There you go. Hold that up. We dropped a link
There it
to
is.
the Crucial store on the B&H website. So if you just click that link, it's easy. It brings you right there. You have all the Crucial products that we carry right there, along with some videos on releases and other information. So check that out. Huge thank you again to you, Paris, for joining us. This was invaluable. It's just so cool to,
Yeah.
get away from the technical stuff every once in a while and just let an artist talk about what they do. So any closing words?
Um, I have a show at the Morrison Hotel Gallery, so if you want to talk, let's go tomorrow. I'll
There
see
you
you
go.
there.
Tomorrow, Prince Street, I believe, in NYC. If you are around tri-state area, no excuses. Get out there, support.
Yeah.
Paris, huge thank you to you, to Crucial. Thank you guys, to all of our viewers out there. We do it for you. We can't do it without you. Need those viewers. Huge thank you. But another edition of the B&H event space and now in the books. Catch y'all next time.